Handing out party favors at a classic style of wedding is just expected, but you can be unexpected in what you choose to hand out. My decorated cutout sugar cookies are absolutely beautiful, and you can tailor the decor to suit the color or theme of your wedding. So let's start with that fundamental good sugar cookie recipe, one that holds its shape, tastes delicious, and that everyone will love. I have 1 cup of unsalted butter here in my mixer, and I'm going to add to that 1 cup of icing sugar.
She pours it on top of the butter.
The fine grind of the icing sugar helps make a cookie that really holds together and holds its shape when you're rolling and cutting it out.
Minutes later, she turns the mixer off.
There we go. And now I'll add 2 egg yolks. I find using yolks is very important when making a good cutout cookie. If you were to use a whole egg, it changes shape. It might spread in the oven a little bit. So just adding the yolks keeps it in place. It also adds a nice bit of richness. At the same time, I can add 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. If you don't have vanilla bean paste though, just add the same amount, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract.
Once finished pouring from the bottle, she turns the mixer on again. And once again, minutes later,
I have my 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. I'll add that all at once. And ½ a teaspoon of salt. And you just need to mix this on low speed until the dough comes together.
And later, with a waiting piece of cling film.
There we go. It is important to chill the dough before you roll and cut out your cookies, just to give that butter a chance to set. It's not an overly sticky dough. It's easy to handle, so.
She forms them by hand.
I'll shape each into a disc.
Then puts them on the cling film.
Before I wrap it and give it a good chill.
She grabs the discs and takes them to the fridge. And later,
once your dough has had a chance to chill, then it's time to roll.
But first by hand.
It's nice to know that you can knead a cookie dough like this just to soften it up, and you'll find it's easier to roll and you won't get cracks.
Now she rolls
And
it.
there are so many cookie cutters to choose from. You just have to pick whatever suits your classic wedding theme. I'm going for something
fancy,
kind of straight ahead and simple.
Rectangle.
These cookies bake at 325. And of course, the bake time will depend on the size and the shape of the cookie cutter you choose. I find these take about 14 minutes.
On a parchment-lined pan.
All right, let's decorate some cookies. This is the best part after all.
Later.
To make a really good royal icing, and this is the type of icing that sets firmly on top of your cookies, you start with 4 cups of icing sugar. It's tempting to use the whisk, but you'll actually work up too much air in it. So use the paddle.
On the stand mixer.
And the best thing for making royal icing is to use meringue powder, which is simply dried egg whites. That way, you don't have to worry about pasteurizing your egg whites, and you get the perfect royal icing every time. I have 3 tablespoons here. I'll add that to my icing sugar. Just give it a quick little blend. There we go. And to make a basic royal icing, I measure 6 tablespoons of cool water. I add that in, I mix it on low speed, and then you want to increase the speed and actually go for about 5 minutes to really build some structure and volume into your royal icing.
Having added the water, she turns the mixer on. And 5 minutes later, she lifts the paddle from the bowl.
There we go. What a difference after a couple of minutes. You can see that the royal icing is holding its shape. So if you're piping detail through a piping tip, this is the consistency you want. I'm after the flood style cookie that completely covers the cookie in a thin layer of the royal icing. So I actually need to add some water to it.
She lowers the paddle.
You'd be surprised how little water it takes to get the right flood consistency. So
now with her fingers,
I just add a few droplets, because you can always add a little more water. If you start making it too liquefied, then you're adding more icing sugar and then more water, and all of a sudden you've got far more royal icing than you know what to do with. So start with a little and work up from there.
She looks into the bowl.
It's already softened a little bit. See how all of a sudden it's a little glossier, a little smoother?
On the paddle.
Okay, I am almost there. I want to add the last addition of water by hand.
She removes the bowl.
That way, as I'm stirring it with my spatula, I can feel its consistency. So now the icing has some movement to it.
She stirs with a spatula now.
But I need it to be just a little more fluid.
So grabbing her cup of water again, she flicks a few more drops into the bowl with her fingers. Then stirs some more.
Okay, so now half of this I'm going to put into a separate bowl.
She does, as the icing's now the consistency of regular yogurt.
Grab a spoon, and let's give ourselves a little blue coloring.
She adds a large drop of blue food coloring.
You can make royal icing ahead of time and store it in an airtight container. Just make sure the surface of it is covered.
She puts the icing
Give it a little stir and it'll be ready to use.
in a piping bag.
When you're flooding a cookie, you don't want it to run everywhere. So the idea is you pipe a line in that color that you want to frame your cookie, and then you fill it in with the fluid royal icing afterwards.
She fills in any blank spots by pushing the icing with a toothpick.
After they've sat for 24 hours, you can pack them, wrap them, stack them, just don't freeze them. And the good news is they'll keep for 7 days. Look at how beautiful they are. And however you choose to decorate them, colors, styles, you have something special to share with your guests. This is a big day. It's a special occasion. Enjoy getting ready for it. Enjoy the day itself. And enjoy a little cookie too.
She's holding one. She takes a nibble, chews, thinks, and wiggles, pleased.